Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the NGEN Markets Training session for today. So, meanwhile, others are joining in, we will start with our topic. So, today, our topic is all about reviewing the mutual fund portfolios of prospective and even existing clients, whereas we will look towards the asset allocation component, the correlation analysis, and the positional overlap of any portfolio analytics. And then we will hopefully jump ahead with the Q&A. So we will try to address all your query. You can either write it on the chat box or verbally, and we will answer them up. So I hope my screen is visible to everyone and I'm clearly audible. If I'm not, please let me know in the chat box so that I can address it. So that's it. So we will start with our terminal. So let me just show you the NGEN Markets terminal. So as you can see, this is the NGEN Markets portal in front of you. And if you really want to add in any particular set of a client in the portfolio section, this is where you can add clients. But there's a new update in our system where you can add the client through CAS PDFs, which is called a statement analyzer. So I will show you the statement analyzer before going ahead with the review. So this new update is there in the tool section. So all you need to do is go into the tool section, and here we have the first tab called statement analyzer. Now within the statement analyzer, we can take in the PDFs of NSDL, CDSL, and the CAMs. And here you can choose the file which you want to add with the password. So once you add the file and password, all you need to do is check file. And once it approves it, it actually gets into the system just like this. So there's a list of, all the files you could add. And here, all the clients from CDSL, NSDL, and even CAMS will be added here into the system. Now, this is already pre-added into our system, and you can easily see that you can see the portfolio report from here, just like this. And you can even download this raw report, and you can also download the Excel format of it and delete it up. Now, if you want to load an analytics of the client, so this is the client which we have added as a CDSL report. To do that, all you need to do is go into the portfolio section. You head towards this plus button, add a new portfolio, whereas we have this load statement analyzer. So when you click on it, the already added client from the CDSL report, which I've previously added, is there in the list. So all I need to do is just click on this plus button. So once you click on this plus button, the client gets added into the system with the name as well. So you can see it's very useful. And now currently we are also capturing the stocks. So any reports which also include stocks will be captured into the system, where you can create it, save it in the system, and run it as well. So once you run it, you can see the portfolio being onboarded into the system. You can run all types of analysis. So we are going to review one of the client just like this, and you can see all the asset allocation details here itself. So this is our new update in our system. If any doubts, you can let us know in the Q&A about this. And once you load in the client, there is another way to add a client is through ISIN from Excel. So ISIN from Excel is another way to add. You just need to click on that plus button, go ahead with the upload option, load ISIN from Excel. You click on it, and here all you need to do is either put in ISINs with the units, amount, or the percentage. So this is the unit example we have. This is the amount example we have, and this is the percentage example. So any of it will work out. All you need to do is just copy it from the Excel, paste it here, and validate the input. Once you validate the input, you can see the portfolio being onboarded here, and you can just name the portfolio as a client or any client number one, and that's it, right? So that's basically it. And you can also, run the portfolio just like how I did for the previous portfolio. So this is the update to add in any client portfolio into the system. Now we are going to review the portfolio based on asset allocation, correlations, and even positional overlap. Now, in the case of review of asset allocation, you can review equity and the debt component of any particular portfolio. So I'll just show you, one example here. So let's say we want to edit this portfolio right now. You can add in a stock as well. So let's say I'm adding Sun Pharmaceuticals and also ICICI Bank, right? So this is another way, a manual way to add in stocks into the portfolio. And I'm just, rescaling them to 100. And I'm also adding some debt funds. So as you know, we all only have equity funds here. So I'm just adding debt funds to show you the review, how it works out in asset allocation. So for the debt funds, I'm just adding ICICI credit risk and yeah, money market. So I've just added two debt funds in the portfolio. Just rescale them to 100. Now I have a couple of direct equity exposure, uh, exposure to the equity mutual funds and exposure to the debt mutual fund as well. Now, if I create this and save it as a new portfolio, right? So I'll just save it. So it gets saved as a new portfolio, and now I can run this client portfolio in the system, right? Or if I click run, you can see the client portfolio is onboarded into the system. Now we are going to review the asset allocation. Now the reason behind I added equities and some debt component is to show you the review, how you can actually see the review for even direct equity as well. So for an example, when we are looking towards asset allocation of this portfolio of the client, you can see easily there's an equity component. So if you click on it, you will see all the equities what the current portfolio holds, which is 80.94%. Now in this, you can see the Sun Pharmaceutical exposure. Now we remember we have added a direct stock exposure as well. So you can click on this I button and you can see that we have two more exposures coming from mutual funds, which is 0.05 and 2.56. And another review is that you can see the direct holding exposure, which is 7.25. So that's the power of it. You can easily see what are the direct holdings and what are the holdings which are coming from mutual fund for an individual stock. Even for ICICI Bank, you can just click on it and you can easily see these are the direct components which are coming. One is the direct component, which is 3.62. This is direct holding directly to the stock, and others are actually from the mutual fund itself. So this I button is pretty useful to review that from where the exposures of Reliance Industries is coming from. So it's from two of the Franklin Blue Chip, FlexiCap, and Nippon India Power and Infra Fund. And here you can also take a look towards the detail view. Now we have added a couple of debt component due to the debt funds. When you click on this detail view, you can see some exposures of NCD, commercial paper, CODs, right? So when you click on NCDs, you can see these NCDs are coming from which particular mutual fund. Now you can click on this I button to see that it's through ICICI Prudential Credit Risk Fund. For commercial people, you click on this and you can see it's from a money market fund, HDFC. So that's pretty much, you can take a look towards any particular set of an allocation broken down in even in the section of debt. And you can click on any particular debt securities like T-bills, government securities. Like for GSEC, you can just click on it and you can see it's from ICICI approved credit risk fund. Now that's basically the overview of the entire portfolio on an exposure level. Now, what about the concentration? So concentration is given here, which helps us to understand how concentrated are the top three exposures. So top three exposures include, when you click on the overview, I'll just come back and I will click on this show all. When I click on show all, I can see these are the top three exposures I have in my portfolio. One is Sun Pharmaceuticals, ICICI Bank, and TREPS. So now if I add this up, I will see my top three exposures as 17.18%. So the more the top three exposure, the concentration, the highly concentrated it is, and more inclined the portfolio is for those top three exposures, which is altogether risky. So you can see for top 3, top 5, and top 10, and even top 20. So all the top 20 exposures in the portfolio is contributing 35.69 as an allocation in the portfolio, right? Now you can also take a look towards the equity market cap exposure. Now for this equity, as you know, we have added some debt component as well. So if you want to take a look towards only the equity exposure, you can see we have 43% in the large cap, mid cap, and in the small cap here given, right? So this is what all about the concentration of the portfolio as on the exposure level, and how all the exposures are divided into the equity market cap are given here in the concentration. Then we have four more, buttons like AMC exposure, which lets us understand that are we inclined towards one AMC or not. Like for an example, Nippon India Mutual Fund, we have three funds which we have a too much inclination towards as an AMC, as an exposure. So you can take a look towards these exposures just by clicking on it, and which mutual fund are contributing that to that exposure on an AMC level. And here we also have the types of the fund we hold. So As you know, we have added debt, 16% debt as a mutual fund, and the asset class, you can see equity as 72.42. And we have this categories of the fund. So you can see credit risk, mid caps, some of them, one is money market, large cap. So you can see the fund categories which are broken down as on a portfolio level. We have this two more which helps us to understand the equity sectors of the entire portfolio. So for an example, as you see, there's a too much exposure and concentration towards pharmaceuticals. So to actually view which stocks am I holding in pharmaceuticals, you can just click on it. You can see, yes, Sun Pharmaceuticals, a direct exposure, and also you can see some other stocks in the pharmaceuticals like Cipla, Lupin, Dr. Reddy's, Torrent Pharma. So all these are here in the system. Now you can see for banking, healthcare, all you need to do is just click on these graphs to get a look towards all the stocks. You can click show all, and all these exposures of the sectors will be given here, which is easily downloadable in Excel. So this is a CSV format where you can take a look towards. And then the debt exposure. So the reason behind me adding the debt in the portfolio here is to show you the debt exposure of that side of the portfolio. Now you can easily take a look towards what kind of debt funds I'm holding. So one is money market, other is credit risk. So what is an average YTM, including both type of the fund which we hold. So now one is having a very high YTM, other is actually a lower. So average, you can see the average YTM here given here, it's 7.98. So the analytics calculates that. And you can also see the average maturity and the duration for both of the funds given here. So if you hover your mouse on both of it, so the take here is that you can add as many debt funds, and you will see the average YTM, average maturity, and average duration of that portfolio in the system. And we have also given the portfolio credit ratings. So what kind of credit ratings these funds are giving on a portfolio level. And you can also take a look towards as of debt exposure, we are having a high inclination to AAA equivalent and AA equivalent. So here, you can also see all the debt securities which this portfolio holds, and you can download this in a CSV format. So that specifically is a review of an asset allocation, which includes, two stocks which are direct exposure, a couple of equity mutual funds, and two debt mutual funds, which whereas you can take a look towards from the overview till debt. And these all exposures can be downloadable in Excel as we have given here. So that's specifically it for the asset allocation. Now coming to the diversification part of the portfolio. So for the diversification, if I want to take a look towards how diversified is this portfolio, even if I'm holding some direct equity, right? So you can directly take a look towards the correlation. Now correlation is pretty useful when you want to take a look towards on a holistic approach for one time period to another time period. For an example, right now the correlation is running from 2nd November 2009 to 8th December 2022, right? So you can even have your own start date. So for an example, I'm having a start date of 2018. So couple of years, 2018, like 4 years from now, and December 8th. When I run it, I can see the correlation from 2018 to 22. It's displayed here. So whenever you're unsure about from what point of the time correlations are running, you have to check this. You can easily check this from here in the system. And here you can easily see, like for an brief example, we will take a look towards a correlation which is pretty high, like Nippon India Growth, which is also a mid cap, and Sundaram mid cap fund. So both of them are a mid cap funds, and they are having pretty high as a correlation. So their behavior towards each other on the basis of price momentum, the NAV momentum, is actually pretty similar. So this gives us an idea that if one falls, there's a behavioral aspect of Sundaram that other falls as well, right? There will be a different set of volatility for both of the funds, but it gives us an idea that we are having a similar set of an asset in our portfolio. Now we can remove one of them and still have a diversified portfolio which works out in the system. Now here, the reason behind me adding some debt, you can see in the debt that it's not correlating with the equity funds, and definitely it should not, right? So the correlation is very lower. So you can see it's closer towards zero. So any of that, like if I point out Aditya Birla MNC versus ICICI Pru credit risk, it's having a correlation of 0.11, which is very closer towards zero. So hence there is a diversification as there is a different asset class involved. Uh, but you can see it here in this sense that yes, there's a correlation between money market, HDFC, and ICICI Pru credit risk. And there's a good kind of a correlation, which is 0.73. Now, in this case, you can also see a difference in sectoral, correlation. Like for an example, Nippon India Pharma is having a low correlation between Sundaram Mid Cap or any other equity funds like given here, like Nippon India Power and Infra. So a difference in the sectors and different type of thematic funds can also show a difference in the correlation. So for summing it up, high correlation is closer towards 1, just like 0.97 when you're comparing between any asset class. And a low correlation is actually, farther away from 1. So it can be 0.65 in equities. If there is a different asset class involved, like equity and debt, then you can see there's a very huge difference, like it's 0.08 as a correlation. Another great case study here is the ICICI Bank Limited. Now you can see Franklin Blue Chip and ICICI Bank, one is stock and another is a mutual fund. It's having a correlation and it's closer towards 1. Similarly, you can see for Franklin India Flexi Cap. Now you can see Franklin Flexi and Blue Chip are actually very correlated. You can see here 0.97. So that hence, if ICICI Bank is correlating with Franklin Blue Chip, then it will definitely have the correlation with Flexi Cap. Now, this is the case where you can actually take a call onto which funds should be removed. Now, there will be a thing that which fund should be removed, maybe an outperforming one, maybe fund with a lower volatility, which is required for the client. That you can take a look towards in different tabs. But the main part here is to look towards diversification on the basis of the start date you have chosen. Now, this start date, if you change, the correlations will change. Like for an example, if I just go for a short period, like 2020, right? A shorter period to see if, let's say we take a call from COVID-19, right? So for that, what you can do, you can just a second. Yeah. So for that, 1 second. Yeah. Yeah, so for that, what you can do is you can just go ahead in here and you can just, click on one particular date set, 23rd March. And here you can see, very a different correlation, like a negative correlation between Aditya Birla SLMNC versus iProve Credit Risk Fund. Yes, so the correlations are changing if you change the time frame. So that you need to be aware about. So whenever you change the correlations here, it depends upon a longer run. So that's how you can, and one important thing is that we calculate correlations on daily basis. And that is, how it differentiates, it gives us accurate data sets. And you can also download this correlation matrix if you want in an Excel. So for your own customized analysis, and that's specifically for the correlations. Now, what about positional overlap? Positional overlaps means, if we have some funds and I want to see the overlapping between the stocks of those funds. So only on the fund level, because there are some stocks in this system. But let's say we go ahead and we want to check the positional overlap. There are two ways to check the position overlap of this client 1.12. One is to directly click on this compare button, right? So once you click on this compare button, you can see the all the securities which were there in the portfolio gets added into the compare section. Now, compare section is very robust, as everybody knows here. So here I'm just going to delete the stocks exposure and we are just going to compare only the mutual funds. And once we check on the positional overlap, you will see the positional overlap between the funds. Like for an example, as you remembered, we had Franklin Blue Chip versus Flexi Cap. They also had a very high correlation. Now you can see 47% of the securities are overlapping between the two funds. All you need to do is just click on them and you can see what are those securities which are overlapping. So from ICICI Bank to Jubilant Foodworks, you can see all those overlap which is happening between them. And not just for this, you can also see for Nippon India Growth, Sundaram Midcap. You click on it, you can see the overlap between them, and you can also download this in the system. Now, if you want to load any other client, right? You don't have to do that compare button, every time. All you need to do is just remember the name of the client. For an example, you remember we added one client through CAS. So all I need to do is just remember the name, just type in the portfolio here, and I can see the position overlap for that particular set of a client given in the system. Now, this portfolio is very diversified. You can see a, good diversification between each other. And one of them, like the two FOFs which we have, what kind of position overlap I'm having in the system. This you can do for any particular set of a client, and even for a model portfolio. Let's say I'm loading another client, right, from my RTA. So I can do that. So these are your own existing client from your ARN. You can just click on it, and the client's individual holdings will be updated into the system. And once it gets updated, you can see the position overlap here in the system. Now, in this case, there is some concentration going on. Like for an example, Kotak Equity Opportunities versus Kotak Standard Multi-Cap Fund. When you click on it, you can see these stocks are actually overlapping, right? And even there is an overlap of Kotak Liquid Fund direct. So it pretty much gives me an idea that, if I'm investing in one of them, might as well I have to consider not to invest in other. So the question arises here is the diversification of the holdings, right? So you can check for any particular, like IDFC multicap versus Kotak. Now this is another overlap which is going on. You can click on it, you can see the overlap between them. So this can also be downloadable in Excel. It's pretty simple. All you need to do is just click on this data, and the Excel, gets downloaded as the all the data sets given here. And it's very useful whenever you're taking a look towards it. So if you can see the Excel, it's a pretty huge Excel. I'm just showing in front of you, but it gives you an idea that, if you're adding lots of funds, there's a possibility of lots of overlap, and this can be used for your own customized analysis if you want the data sets, right? And one important thing here is that these all funds which we have taken into consideration, I can even print a PowerPoint based report. So when I print a PowerPoint based report, the positional overlap also gets recorded. So for any particular set of a client, so in this case the client's name was Sam Bedi. So you can create kind of like a individual comparative security, individual comparisons report for that client, to show that how the funds are overlapping between each other. And that's pretty much gives us an idea for the comparisons of the PowerPoint, right? So I will load a PowerPoint from here. There's already a PowerPoint we have in the comparison report. So 1 second. So this is a comparison report we have. Now, I hope this PowerPoint is visible to everyone. This PowerPoint is pretty customizable, so you can just, use it as, as a customized approach for, let's say, this is the client whose name is Sam Bedi, and you can see, what we were talking about, the positional overlap. You can easily see this is what the positional overlap this client had, right? So I hope it is visible to everyone. If it is not, please let me know in the chat box. So that's specifically what I was talking about, that this position overlap will help us to understand that, between UTI and Franklin India Prima, which is given here, we have 40% overlap. And this gives us an uh, indication that, if you want to actually, uh, see the diversification of any portfolio, and if you want to show it to a client, this is one way you can develop a PowerPoint based report pretty seamlessly just by clicking on that one click of a button, and the PowerPoint gets developed. So that is one thing. Another is the portfolio section. Just a second. So within portfolio section, where we talked about asset allocation for the 50% of us session. So within that asset allocation, if you want to make capital report, now you all know that we have this percentage allocations towards all the mutual funds. What if I want to know that if I invest like 50 lakhs, what would be my allocation to Nippon India Pharma on the base 50 lakhs, right? So all I do is just click on this PowerPoint button and just type in the capital. So I'm just typing the ballpark figure of 50 lakhs. You click on this create PowerPoint, and it helps us to create that PowerPoint report based on the capital allocation. So even on an exposure level, it gives us a very good idea that, where am I exposed towards on the basis of exposure. So just a second, I'm just loading this PowerPoint. If it is viewable to everyone, just let me know. One second. Yeah, so I'm just loading this PowerPoint report. Is it visible? Okay. So yeah, so as you can see, this is the PowerPoint report. This is the capital we have allocated 50 lakhs to the to a portfolio. And you can see on an exposure level that, okay, the question was that we are allocated 8.88 lakhs 36,000 in Born India Pharma. And on an exposure level, you can see Sun Pharmaceuticals, we have 4 lakh 92,000. Now, this you can view even for a equity, debt, and cash. Now, 40 lakhs in equity, 7 lakhs in debt, 1.79 lakhs in cash. You can see that even on a sectoral and a concentration level. So concentration, top 3 concentration is 8.59 lakhs, which is given here. So this entire thing helps us to understand in lakhs and crores, whatever input you give on a capital amount. And this will be a very, uh, relatable for the client, because whenever you take a look towards equity exposure, how am I exposed as pharmaceuticals? So it's 11.62 lakhs. So it's pretty useful to understand that, and this is how you can use this reports for your clients. So this is the reporting system, and there are others which includes performance rolling analysis. It will require another session anyway, but this will be more all about the percentages. But these all asset allocations will be all into, if you create a capital based report, then this kind of reports will help you to understand on the basis of capital where your exposure is, in what sectors, in what type of concentration, in what kind of capitalization in large cap, mid cap, small cap, and the component of equity and debt. So that's specifically it for today's session. We can start ahead with our Q&A. So if you have any questions, so we can start answering them.
You were Accenture, right? Before this? So Accenture,
So are there any questions?
hi.
Yes. So anybody has any questions?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is Megha. I was saying that we have a limit of approx 100 quantity that we can add as mutual funds and stocks, right, in a portfolio.
Yes, that's currently the case. It's about more like 70 to 80 assets in one go.
Okay, so I have a client who has almost 140 holdings.
Right.
So how do I do it now?
At this point, more than 70 to 80 basically causes a problem. The portfolio analytics running over the browser. We do have a solution that we are working on to allow you to run that many funds in one go. So we will let you know as soon as they're out. I mean, I think the estimate is around January that we'll be able to do that. We're just working through some other items which are slightly more urgent, but we will definitely get to that.
Okay, and if we have run analytics in plan, is it the same as run analytics in portfolio, or is it different?
Absolutely same. Absolutely
same.
Yes.
Also, if I have manually added the portfolio of client, okay, I had manually added the portfolio of client in plans.
Yes.
Each token, and then since it was 144 and I wasn't able to run it, I did edit over there. I did delete few stocks.
Okay.
Now the portfolio has different stocks because I think that was captured. Someone had edited it over there, and I have edited it over here.
Okay.
So in the client, the portfolio is different. In the portfolio section, the portfolio of the same client is different.
Right.
How do I deal with it now? Should I delete the portfolio one, and can I then load it again?
Yeah, absolutely. You can basically, the manual data section is for you to manage yourself. So you can delete, edit whatever you want over here. You can delete the entire client to start a new one. You can also edit and remove a few positions and add new ones also. And in the same way, if you, in the portfolio section also, you can actually add, delete anything.
This
So they
won't
are
create
managed.
an issue, right?
Yeah, it's you can just for example, here you can edit it,
Yeah.
you remove a couple of holdings, and you can hit the update button at the bottom.
Right.
Update will override this current one.
Okay.
And if
Okay.
you want to save as new, just like a Word document, you can save a new copy if you don't want to delete the previous one.
Right. Also, in portfolio section, we can't see the quantity. We can only see the percentage of the holdings, right?
That's right. So the portfolio section is more of a research tool where the amount of money isn't really dealt with. Everything is dealt with in percentages.
I can't see the quantity and the value, right?
Yeah, not in the portfolio section. As I said, it's more of a research tool. But if you want to actually put in the quantities, if you only have quantities, not percentages, we still have an easy method for you to do that. Umair, let's just show the new portfolio button for 1 second. To create not the client section, back in the portfolio section, icings from Excel. So here what you can do is, if you have the actual amount or units in Excel, you can copy paste them here.
Right.
And what we will do is we will convert them to percentages and save it. But this amount information will be lost.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When I'm researching again, I would like to see which is the highest value items I own, which is the lowest. For example, now I had to delete 2 stocks, right?
Right.
So I was looking at which is the lowest value that I should delete.
Sure.
So
In
that
case, in that case, you're definitely better off in the client section. Rather than here. So even if you want to manage your data yourself, you can go to the manual data section. And here, may I just close that? Yeah. So here, so for example, in Umair's login, there are 181 clients he's got.
Right.
He can even search through the holdings here. So Umair, let's just search for any fund here, and then he can check out of the data he has added, how many clients are holding only one client.
Suppose you hold list one client. Suppose Everest Trust modified. Just load that client.
Yeah.
So now even here, though I can see this, I cannot sort this funds A to Z. That is one thing, all on base of value, or export the sheet into Excel.
Okay, understand. So you want to export this list into Excel. Okay, that's fine. That we can do that. And what is the other thing you were saying? Sorting.
If I had to sort this here based on the fund A to Z or on based on value.
Right. Umair, can you check if the sorting works on the name? So here, man, the sorting on the name will work.
Okay.
And one more thing, if you want it in Excel, may I just go back to just click on manual data one more time. So here, okay, here we don't have that. For RTA connections, if you have RTA data connected, you can actually download all your client data in one simple Excel. But we take your point, we will add this feature where for any individual client, you can download an Excel file.
True. That would be very helpful.
And just so you know, ma'am, there is one method still you can do. Umair, just load Everest Trust modified and then just run analytics. It may not suffice all your requirements, but at least percentage wise, you can download from here. But if you give us some time, we'll add the Excel download.
Yes, that would work. Thank you so much.
No problem. So we have a few questions on the chat.
Sorry.
Yeah. So one question is there any way to view allocation to international funds? So so we do show that if you load any fund that has allocated any of its capital to international funds, that does show up in the asset allocation. If you give us an example, we'll try to find one now. You will actually see within asset allocation, you will see a bucket for foreign mutual funds. And I don't know if this is, we can check it. And you can, let's do that. So let's load a fund from there and just see if it has any items in there. So okay, so there's it's just done ETFs, but you will definitely be able to see international fund allocations if you load any particular fund. There is another question called, can we merge the NSDL report of 2 members of the family and evaluate it as a single portfolio? So with the new statement analyzer, you are able to obviously create 2 portfolios, separate ones, with each NSDL statement. If you want to run them together, I don't think there's anything in the portfolio section that allows you to run 2 portfolios in one go. I believe that there was a requirement from someone earlier where they wanted to run multiple portfolios in one go. We have that facility in the client section, by the way, but in the portfolio section, this isn't there. So let us have a think. We'll get back to you. So currently you have to run them separately. I mean, if you want to do it, you can do it manually. We can very quickly show you how. Once you've saved both portfolios in the portfolio section, you can easily just download the ISINs. Umair, let's just show that quickly. It's a very quick process, actually. All you have to do is click on that download portfolio. You'll get the first portfolio in Excel, and then you do the same thing for the second one, and you put them together. And you will have to, manually basically edit the percentages with the formula. And then you can come back here and add it in as a new portfolio using the ISINs from Excel function. So yeah, you can just copy the column C and column D. Well, let's assume both our portfolios are here. You can just copy this and paste this in the new portfolio section. We'll just show you right there. Make sure you select percentages at the drop down below, and then that's it. It will come in as one single portfolio. And even if you have 2-3 line items for the same fund, that's fine. We will take care of it and put it all together into one. Okay, so we have another question saying when we generate the PowerPoint, the font size is too small. Okay, fine. We can definitely take a look into that. Let's just write this point down, please. So we will check it.
Sure, sir.
Okay. There's another question. Is it possible to selectively add client portfolios from R and T's instead of all? So I'm not sure I understand the question. If you could just clarify, just to make sure I answer it correctly. What do you mean by R and T's?
Hi. See, suppose I have 300 clients, but I just want to add 25 clients onto this platform. Is it possible, or we have to bring everybody on the board?
So if you use the RTA connection, then everything comes in.
Okay.
If you want to selectively add some, then the best bet is the manual data section. We will actually be adding this function where in the manual data section, you will be able to load clients in from the statement analyzer instead of having to add the holdings one by one like this.
Okay.
So that should make things easier. But if you have an RTA connection, then we don't have any facility to exclude particular clients yet.
Okay, this individual analyzer, so NSDL statement, CAM statement, what other option is there?
So sir, we can do the standard NSDL statement.
Okay.
We can do the CDSL statement. That's also the standard one. And also CAMs. This is the new one that came out a couple of years ago, where it can do the CAMs summary statement, which only has the holdings, and it can also do the CAMs detailed statement, which has transactions and holding. But in both cases, it will only take out the latest holdings.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
No problem. There's another question saying how to add corporate bonds. So in terms of our portfolio analysis, since we are running back tests, we don't back test corporate bonds. So if you do have a portfolio which has a few corporate bonds, you have 2 options. One is to basically ignore that part of the portfolio and rescale whatever else you have. So Umair, let's just give a quick example. Just start a new portfolio and add 2 funds. So you clear all or just a new one. So basically, imagine if the client portfolio has 2 funds and a corporate bond. Yeah, okay, so there's 2 funds here. Now, maybe 80% of the portfolio is mutual funds and 20% is corporate bonds. So corporate bonds you can't put in here because we have no way of back testing them. What you can do is you can rescale them to 100. So whatever the percentage is out of the 100, it will rescale it up to 100. So you can at least give your client a proper analysis of the mutual fund and stock part of their portfolio. Okay, there's another question asking, will the international allocation show up at the client portfolio level? So what does asset allocation show? Okay, so international, yeah, it will. I mean, so if you have mutual funds in your portfolio which have invested in foreign mutual funds, you will actually see a bucket in the asset allocation section which will say foreign mutual funds. And also you will be able to see them in the holding analysis. We can try and find something here to demonstrate that. Okay, so let's see if that works. And while that's running, we can also address the second part of your question. What does asset allocation show? Equity, debt, cash, alternatives, gold. So we have some overall kind of buckets here. So the standard ones are equity. Any mutual fund will always go into the mutual fund bucket in this particular view. Debt will have all your bonds in it, and then cash will have all your net cash receivables, etc., etc. If you want to look at a slightly detailed view, you can check that box on the top there, right on the top, and you'll actually get a detailed categorization of the underlying exposures. So please note that these are analyzing the underlying holdings of the mutual funds in your portfolio. So it's analyzing your exposures, not your holdings. So equity 56% means it's Indian stocks, basically. And the reason you have a foreign mutual fund bucket here is because there are some funds that you've got in this portfolio who have put their money into foreign mutual funds. And that's like LYGC offshore fund. And you can see the other slightly detailed buckets here as well. Okay. A statement analyzer, I've got another question saying NSDL upload captures only stocks and not mutual funds. So this should not be happening. NSDL funds will definitely capture mutual funds as well as stocks. If you are having an issue, just please write us an email at support@ngrenresearch.com. And we'll look at it very, very quickly. If you are able to share the file and password with us, do let us know, and we can we'll address it. But we have quite a few users uploading files now, and we can see from our logs. So it seems to be working fine. Sometimes there are these are PDF files, so it can never be 100% accurate. So if there is some issue, please let us know, and we'll be able to fix it reasonably quickly. Okay, we have a question saying how to analyze CAMS and Carvey statement. So may I just very quickly, let's just go to the statement analyzer 1 second. So if you have a CAMS Carvey statement, please put in your password here, choose the file from your computer, and then click on check file. As soon as you do it, let's put that in here. As soon as you do it, the system will first, okay, go ahead. I don't know if this one has a password or not, but as soon as you click on check file, the system will first check whether it's a NSDL, CDSL, or CAMS Carvey file. It will tell you, right? And once it does that, then you have another button which says, go ahead and load this. When you click that button, it can take about 15 to 20 seconds. So there it is. So it said, I've checked the file and it's a CDSL file. You can put a label on it. So if you have too many files, you might want to remember it with a name. You can put any kind of identifier for yourself only. And then once you click on that button, it will go through and it will take out, usually it's quicker. It depends on the size of the file. But if you just please wait for this to finish, this loader will go away. And on the right-hand side, you will see that a file has loaded up, right? And it will have, some details already there, and you can download this file, etc. Now, this is one use of this is that you can actually open up. So click there for a second. You can actually open up and see the funds inside. You can also download this in Excel if you want. There's an Excel icon there. You can re-download the file. So this can also serve as like a drive, a secure drive for your files here. If you have a lot of prospective clients, you can come here and upload that data, and you don't have to look through your computer folders to find those files. It's securely saved under your login. No one in NGEN will be ever be able to access it. So that's the Excel download there. Let's just go back to the platform. Obviously the final button is you can delete it. That's the first use. The other uses, then the portfolio section to run analytics, as Umesh showed you earlier. You can very quickly load that file that you just put into the statement analyzer into. And soon we will also add the functionality to load this into the manual data section in the client section. So hopefully that makes it clear. Okay. There's a question saying missed few parts of today's session. Can you get a recording? Yes, definitely. Our recording, just give us a day or two, and this recording will be up on our YouTube channel. So every weekly call is actually uploaded there. If you forget where the YouTube channel is, you can either search NGEN Markets YouTube on Google, or you can just click on that button that Umesh just pointed to. It'll take you to our YouTube channel, where among other functionality videos, you also have our webinars. So there's a playlist called webinars. You can see the 2nd December is already there. So today's session will also be there. And you can easily watch it later on. Another question is NSDL canvas file uploaded, how to map it to client created. So once you upload the file, the file is just saved in the statement analyzer section. You can load it and save it in the portfolio section. So once you go in the portfolio section, just go in there and load the portfolio. Just click that. And so now you can see the holdings have been imported, the name has been put. Now you just click on create, and it will actually save a portfolio in the portfolio section for you. We've already got one, so but that's how you do it. If you want to save this in the client section, as I said, we'll be releasing that in a short while, where in the client section, manual data section, you'll also be able to import this data. Right now, you have to enter it manually. There was one other question about adding corporate bonds. Someone asked if they can be added as a custom security. Absolutely, that is definitely possible. If you are able to create a price series that reflects the historical returns of a corporate bond, you can easily put the date and price series here, save it as a custom security, and then add it to your portfolio. So that's absolutely fine. So I believe that's all the questions on the chat. Are there any more questions from anybody else, either on chat or just on the call? Okay, if there are any more questions, I think maybe we can close up for today.
Sure. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending this session. We will come again next week with with a few interesting topics. And as you have seen, we have updated a couple of updates. We are rolling in, so we are coming up with new updates in the system rigorously. And you can also check out our updates in our Twitter tab. So all you need to do is just go ahead and see the updates in the Twitter. You can see all the updates regarding the insights are coming in as well. And also, as it was clearly shown by Arunab sir, you can also head towards our YouTube channel, which includes all the videos of the webinars and some topics which are discussed in these webinars. So thank you again, everyone, and have a nice weekend. We'll come again next week, Friday, 4 o'clock, same time.